We talked about the future. How about what could go on in the future between now and the draft on the 20th? Our coverage on NBA TV, by the way, part of all of those festivities. Where will AD be on the way to? 2-team deals, 3-team deals. And Rich Paul with one big cover with his iPhone and a lot of conversation that begins, including his comments about the Celtics, in which he said, basically in no uncertain terms, hey, look, you can go and make this deal. You'll have him for the year. He'll give you everything he's got, and then he got to go. So he's going to go take a walk after that. With what happened here with Kawhi this year and seeing that he was able to take a team that, look, had a franchise record in wins, despite Coach Casey getting fired after Coach of the Year, was elevating them. You wonder how many teams could be in. The Lakers still at the forefront. Came out today, rumors and reports that Ball and Ingram and the number 4 pick seem to be the central core of now the workings of a deal, perhaps to try and get AD, which, by the way, is not close to what was offered and then turned down before. Oof. So how do you see this Anthony Davis thing playing out at this point? And do you think he makes it to the draft, or do you think he's on another team for picks before we even get to Brooklyn now a week?
Well, what's interesting for me is that you talked about earlier, Isaiah, he's made it very clear he doesn't want to be where he's at now. Do you take a page out of OKC if you're the right franchise, you have the right locker room, and take that chance of saying maybe we can change his mind like OKC did? Where Kawhi was very clear when Masai Ujiri found out, he made the move and took the chance. But obviously David Griffin's had that conversation with Anthony Davis and his group, and it's time to move on. Do you find the right deal now? Or do you say, I can take this chance when I make this move and say, I'm close enough to either making the playoffs or making some noise in the playoffs, then at risk versus reward again on that player?
No, I think you have to make the move now. And the longer you wait, I mean, there are 3 opportunities to make good deals in the NBA. One is at the deadline, trade deadline. Right. The other is right before the draft or during the draft. And then the other is some point in time at the start of the season. Those are your 3 periods. Right now, they've gone through those. They're at their 3rd period right now in terms of you got to make a deal now, because as Casey said, the deal that was on the table before, the first deal before the break, sounds better than this one. And the longer you wait, the worse the deals are going to get. So I think Griff is in a good situation, but his hand is really not that strong as it was before back in February.
Whether it's investments, people, I don't care, garage sale, it's all about leverage.
Yes.
You have it, but you lose it quickly. And don't let that change and that turnover of the ball happen, because all of a sudden then you're getting what you can instead of the best of what's around, so to speak. Yeah. Is that, I don't know what philosopher said that.
No. Casey Stern said that.
I also probably could have said this, and it wouldn't have been any kind of a Miss Cleo telling you the future thing. We knew that Kyrie was going to be on the way somewhere else, or at least opting out and then kind of trying to find a max. He does not opt into that extra year with the Celtics, and now officially will become a free agent. Shams Charania with that information. So now we go to the question of Kyrie and reports that he and Kevin Durant were all set to go to Brooklyn or New York with the Knicks and yada, yada. Kyrie is a fantastic player.
Yes,
what I want to
is.
ask you, and I'll start with you, DZ, what happened with him the way it happened? With him kind of almost like staring in the face of what should have been accountability and not taking that much. Did it hurt him at all whatsoever, the scenario, the lack of his ability to wrangle that Celtics team with all that talent together? You think it hurt him?
I don't know if it hurt him. It just really showed that a young man trying to figure out how to be a better leader, because it was his first time, Zeke, of really being a leader since he left high school. So that was the first question. Secondly, I never believed that Kevin Durant would want to go to New York with him, okay? Now, thirdly, my thing is, if you're opting out, have you had the conversation with Danny Ainge or have you not? Who wants to give him that 4-year deal, Zeke, knowing that those knees and those legs have been going through some ups and downs? So I'm a little concerned from that standpoint, from the body, what the body has gone through, and willing to give him a 4-year max with new team.
Yeah, and I think Kyrie is in this free agent market, he's in a really good situation the way it's kind of played out, because he really does have his pick of the litter in terms of Brooklyn, Los Angeles, or New York. He can go anywhere he really wants to in terms of these 3 places, and I think he will be accepted in all 3. So I think the most important thing he's got to decide is, is he going to be okay being 1B again? Because if you go to L.A. with LeBron, he's 1A, and you're going to be 1B again.
Right.
Okay? In Boston, you were 1A, and if you're thinking about teaming up with Durant, you're going to be 1B because he's 1A. So he's got to find a place where he can feel comfortable at and be the person that he is and the player that he is and still win.
And does he want even that anymore? Forget about it, because look, grass always greener on the other side. There was a reason he was like, "Oh, LeBron, about all that stuff." I said, "Wait, not as easy over here." By the way, we take a timeout from what we're doing to talk about a timeout that maybe shouldn't have been done in the first place. Momentum can change like it did just here in this segment very quickly. Just ask the people who were complaining about the timeout Nick Nurse took in Game 5 with 3 minutes to go. He was asked about it today.
Momentum is definitely real in everything in life, right? From the moment you get up, to a basketball game moment, no doubt about it. Sometimes timeouts stop them, sometimes they don't. Sometimes not taking one stops it, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's kind of the world we live in on the basketball court.
We were actually watching this game again during our break between shows today. And I was talking about this, and then I'm going to go to you, Zeke, because we're watching it. And admittedly, and look, you guys were here, you're working, and I know how that is. You got a chance to kind of watch it back and feel it as I felt it, because I wasn't here on that crew. I was waiting to see if we came back out west. This was a really ill-timed timeout. Back-to-back threes from Kawhi, a missed three from Steph. Kawhi had just gotten the ball to go at it again. He's on a run, and they take a timeout. Now, having watched it, is it worse than you thought it was a couple of days ago?
Yes, but this is what I'm going to say about my man Nick Nurse, right? In this series, he's been betting 9 for 9, okay? So now he's 9 for 10. He understands that, the momentum was real, the building was real, the players were feeling it. Everything was going your way momentum-wise. And there are some times as a coach where you do make a mistake. Just like as a player, you make a mistake, you have a turnover, so forth and so on. The players, the coaches, none of these people are perfect. But I would say this about Nick Nurse. To where the Raptors are today, tomorrow having a chance to close out and be NBA champions, Nick Nurse has did a fantastic job this season. And if he made a mistake, then damn it, he's allowed to make one.
But he did make one, though, right?
And I'm saying it was a mistake.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the momentum was going his way. And I think he understood that. He even said it himself. The momentum was real. The game was going the right way. And that was a timeout that, didn't necessarily need to be taken at that time. It didn't cost him the game, but it definitely cost him the momentum.
What I love about Nick Nurse, to Zeke's point, his transparency. Like he said, there's times where he hadn't called timeout and things worked out. It's one of those things as a coach, you're living in the moment. You thought your team needed a little rest. Now you go back and look at it, you would have changed it.
Yeah, look, a lot of things happened after that. You could almost do an entire TV show.
And Marcus Gasol did get fouled as the league came out and said he got fouled.
There was a goal, an interference that probably shouldn't have been. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. That philosopher wrote Ghostbusters. We have more philosophy or not, the reality of Boogie. He's played hurt and played hard, and he was huge in Game 5.
I'm going to come back with some sage on you.
We continue Game Time live at the NBA Finals presented by YouTube TV. Boogie, Oogie, Oogie.
Get down.
Indeed. And indeed, not enough time for 3D to sing, and I've heard Zeke do it. We don't want that either. Game 2, Boogie gave everything he had, and then seemingly maybe more than the body was ready for. Game 3 and 4, not so much. Down in the rotation in that moment. No KD. They need the momentum, and Draymond said earlier today that energy was huge and important, and both and the man providing that energy. Sit down with Kristen Lello.
After Game 5, you emphasized over and over again that this is all bigger than basketball. What about this series has made that true for you?
We've seen almost every type of obstacle so far in this playoff run. And we're just still trying to still fighting through, like obviously, and it just shows the character of this team. It shows the fight in this team. It shows the drive. So that's all we can do at this point.
How then do you shift the focus back to basketball with history on the line in this series?
Well, one, that's the main goal, to come out and win a championship. So we've had a lot of distractions. We've had a lot of adversity, a lot of ups and downs. So have to find a way to, kind of zone those things out and remember the task at hand.
You've gone through the rehab and recovery process more than once this season. How are you feeling physically at this point?
I'm fine. I mean, if I was on one leg right now, I would say that I would give you the same answer. But I mean, I'm fine. I'm good enough to play. I'm gonna leave it out there on the floor.
Then what did you see at the start of Game 5 that allowed you to be so effective offensively?
Just came out and tried to be aggressive. My teammates have, continued to preach that to me, to stop being so hesitant with, the way I've been playing. So just try to come out, be aggressive. And, my intention every time I step on the floor is to always try to make the right play. So just continue to do that.
What will be the key then, as we're sitting in Oracle Arena for the last time you're playing here? Anyone's playing here. What will be the key to forcing a Game 7?
Come out, play the right way, play both ends, play off the energy of the crowd. I'm sure to be electric, and just leave it on the floor. Leave it all on the floor.
Thanks, DeMarcus. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Kristen, Boogie, thank you very much. So in game number 5, offense, even athletically at the basket, seemed to be more aggressive, and the team's been talking to him, DZ, about not being, as timid, and I think some of that has to do with not knowing what his body could give him, right? So there's a little of that. Plus, offensively, we know he's not going to be the dynamic scorer he can be after missing so much time. So what can we really expect in Game 6?
Well, first of all, listen to his teammates because they really do want him to be aggressive. It's the first time, we talked about it earlier in the playoffs, this is the first time when Boogie's not 1A, B, or C on the floor. So that's a part of hesitating too because he's so used to the offense being ran through him. So now, tomorrow night, be aggressive, play your ball game. I think Steve Kerr will bring him off the bench again. I think coming off the bench, letting the flow of the game start, Zeke, gives you an opportunity to look and see when he checks in, he can be effective right away.
This is what I'm expecting from Cousins, 3D. This is his third game now in the series. The first game, he was good. Second game, a little, and now I think he's ready for that explosive game. I mean, this is a guy who's capable of getting you 20 to 30 points on any night when he's ready, when he's right, and he's healthy. And I think he's gotten a feel for this series. Defensively, he still struggled a little bit in the pick and roll. Okay, he struggled a lot.
He struggled a lot, yeah.
He struggled a lot. I mean, they were going at him. But the thing we know about Cousins, he has major pride. And when he sat there and he watched the film, and every time they switched and he was guarding Lowry, and Lowry would get around him and score, I think he's going to be better defensively. And I think he's going to be significantly better offensively. And we may see the Cousins tomorrow that we are used to seeing, when he was back in New Orleans. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a monster game tomorrow.
I'll tell you one thing. I think today and tomorrow and every day moving forward, Warriors fans will want the lasting memory of Oracle to not be Raptors fans singing "Oh Canada" in their building, which is the way it looked like it could have been.